that you call lessons, so you could evolve. Coming here is like taking a test. Yes, you could pass or fail depending on the effort you took in planning it before you got here. It was in the planning that would determine how hard you were going to work on it once you arrived. Remembering the before life changes the way you look at what you should be doing in this life. So the challenge becomes remembering where you came from, who you are, why you are here, rather than anticipating where you're going once you leave. Once you've realized that this life is not all there is, your perspective on birth and death will totally change. Okay, Ray, so who do we have with us tonight?
Well, you can just about guess. Joy, Kathy, Veronica.
You guys. All right.
No questions yet.
No questions, okay.
Well, we had a comment.
We had a comment?
We had a comment
yes.
this morning.
Yes. From, wasn't it from
Kathy?
Yeah.
Very good. A very nice comment.
Yeah, Ray's going to read Kathy's comment.
So this is about the before life.
Right. How the before life impacts this one.
Kathy says, I always knew that I was not getting the full story from the dogma religion that I grew up in. There were just too many holes in the story. And when I finally let go of that dogma that was ingrained in me during my growing up years, the pieces finally started to fall into place. And I was finally able to hope and no longer fear death. That's good. I have found such peace and understanding that was never there before, and I'm eternally grateful to you and to Ray for your part in helping me to understand and to grow. I count my blessings daily, and the two of you are always included in those blessings. You are both great teachers. Thank you so much. To which that great teacher, Linda Deir, responded, Ray can relate to you on this matter. He was raised a Catholic. He has always said he's spiritual and not religious. On the other hand, I didn't have to overcome the dogma because I never was exposed to religion growing up. The spirit guides and angels are indeed clear communicators as they walk with you on your journey. The more you realize this, the more realizations you will be granted.
And I want to say something about the part where I said that you will be granted. The more realizations I have, it's an ongoing thing. It didn't stop and start, and it's something that once you move on this path and you are awake and you're aware and you do write down what's going on your journey, okay, in your journal, you track it so that you can see the progress and you can see where you slip up now and then and go, okay, I did it for so many years. It's no wonder it's kind of, bleeding through a little bit once in a while. But I see it when I write it in here. I see the evidence. This is part 3. I see it, and I know I'm aware of it. It's not here anymore. It's here, and it doesn't control me. Okay, I control it now. I catch it before it happens again. But most of the time, it's going to be stuff like realizations you had and different things that are going on, like with your dreams and what you're realizing, what you're understanding, the epiphanies you're having, the gratitude you have. It's amazing, all right? So I can tell you this last part. Ray, can I have that comment, please?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. The last part where I said, the more you realize this, the more realizations you will be granted. I mean, it's like something that starts to open up, and once it starts to open up, you couldn't stop it if you tried. I mean, you'd have to go back into some serious density to stop that motion, stop that momentum, is what I want to say, because it is momentum. And once your guides see you catching it and clicking, and you're beginning to get it, all right, and you're working through the shortcomings, you're facing them, you're dealing with them, you're getting them out of here, you're putting them on the page there they are, all right? You can look at them again, refer back to them so you don't fall back into that. Then I got news for you, you guys. These realizations that you're going to be granted will be nonstop. It's just like the best life you can't believe you missed up until now. The best life you can't believe you missed up until now. Okay? Think about that. You won't miss it anymore. And you won't believe what you're able to connect with, what you're being granted. Okay? It's this connection you have. It's your connection. You're connected to yourself. And now the byproduct of that is you're connected to your universe. You are connected to your spirit guides and angels. You're connected to all of it. You're not fragmented anymore and fractured. All right? So that's what I felt with Kathy's question. That was my reply. And that, again, when you write, I have to say that when you use this journal and you write in it, you'll start to, like when I wrote that last sentence here, I know that came from the guides, that's what you'll be granted. Because they know, this is how this works. It's the most amazing thing. So write it all down.
I think when you write in the journal, I think you know when it's coming from your guides and not from you, because they say some words that you wouldn't ever use. Normally how you speak.
That's my point, right?
Right.
Ray picked right up on that. That's my point. When I ended my comment to you, Kathy, today, I ended it with a sentence: the more you realize this, the more realizations you will be granted. That came through me, that didn't come from me. That's my point. What Ray
Last week they said something too that you caught in response to one of the questions on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
They ended what they were talking. The guys were talking to the. I think it was.
We had Sandy and we had Jeremy.
Yeah, Sandy.
Was it Sandy?
Yeah. Or no, it was Jeremy.
Okay.
Trying to get ahead, and they told him the last sentence was talked about. This will keep you from living life from a posture of greed.
I know.
I mean, who talks like that?
You guys have never heard me talk like that, all right?
You never heard me talk like that.
So it's the guides coming through. It's when we were channeling the information for Jeremy, right?
Right.
That's what comes through.
Right.
Okay, so it comes through all the time. You'll start catching it, and you'll start seeing where it's infiltrating your writing. Just like when I read that last sentence that I responded to Kathy's comment, So keep those comments coming, by the way.
All right. Joy raised her hand first.
Great.
All right. Joy says, does remembering why we came here, the amnesia thing.
Yeah.
Does remembering why we came here alter how we will learn our lessons? And then is the lesson is the lesson more impactful if we do or don't remember?
Okay.
We're here?
That's two questions. Okay. And you are going to be granted two answers. Okay, Ray.
First one.
The first part of the question, and then we're going to have your guides answer you, okay? So go ahead and read it.
Does
Ray.
remembering why we came here alter how we learn our lessons?
And your spirit guides and angels are going to answer that question for all of us. Joy, great question. And here they go.
Joy, if you remembered everything when you came here and had no amnesia, that would certainly alter your lesson learning, as you wouldn't have any to learn. You know it all once you got here. Okay, what was the second part? Is the lesson more impactful if they do or don't remember? Okay. The lessons are designed to be aha moments. Certain times in your life where the self-realization just shows itself. So, yes, it's more impactful in the moment if you don't remember.
if you don't remember. Okay, let me take a look at something else here. Take a look at those questions, right? And let me take a look at something. I want to review one thing. Okay. You came here for your soul to work out certain aspects that you call lessons. I thought it was interesting that that's the first time they ever referred to the lessons as something that we call lessons. Okay. And then they finish it with, so you could evolve. All right. So they call it certain aspects and we call it lessons. Okay, I'm going to read that again. You came here for your soul to work out certain aspects that we call lessons. So it's almost like we take it personally. We call it, oh my God, it's a lesson. Not another lesson, right? Where they don't look at it like some kind of punishment or some kind of, karmic lesson or, some heavy duty thing we have to face. They look at it like an aspect. That totally lightens it up. That keeps you from taking. Do you see how the guides keep promoting the concept of not taking things personally, not taking it so hard, not making this life so hard, you guys? It's not about, lessons, aspects. Wow. Now that leaves everything open. Now we're not a sinner. We're not guilty. We don't have shame all over us. There's nothing we did wrong. And, it's just an aspect. I like how these guides think. They're clean. They're bright. They're higher intelligence, that the way that they look at things. And this is why having this relationship with your spirit guides and angels will clear up all kinds of stuff where people have been taught the wrong things. It's time to unlearn some of this stuff and get it out of the way so it quits clogging us up and weighing us down. What do we have, Ray?
Veronica had a couple questions. Veronica says, how can we get more in touch with our before life?
We're going to let your spirit guides and angels talk to you about this, talk to all of us about this. Great question, Veronica.
You get more in touch with your before life once you realize that you are spending a lot of time worrying about the afterlife. Normally, the afterlife is a concept or part of a dogma, like Kathy said, used to control people. If you do this or break this commandment, then you will be punished. If you don't do any of these things you shouldn't, then you will be rewarded. What happens is people spend their entire lives keeping score, hoping that the plus column outweighs the negative column, although they have been taught that the negatives are far worse than many positives.
So what was her question again?
Question was, how do you get more in touch with the before life? Don't keep score.
Yeah, quit focusing on what's going to happen next. That would be based on anticipation and anxiety because it's future related.
It's worry.
Right, it's worry.
Am I going to be good enough to go that direction or not?
To even think about it is a waste of time.
Right.
That's really what the guides are talking about in today's session and what they're talking about here. To even think about it is, it's like you're being the present moment. That's what they really promote, the present moment. If you're not in the present moment, you're not living your life fully. If you're not in the present moment, you're not connected. Okay, you're missing it. You're not connecting. You're not connected to yourself first. You can't trust yourself. The doubt, the fear starts. It's just one roller coaster ride in the wrong direction. Where when you are present, you're right here. You're not worried about where you came from. You're not worried about where you're going. It's one big cycle. You're not worried about any of that. Then you're present. You're connected to yourself. You can trust that. You can trust yourself. And you're connected to your guides. You can receive that information. They can reach you. All right? So what's really happening is you came in. Here, I'm going to explain it like this. You're on a trip. You're going on a trip. You got on the train. You got on the train. You came in from the before life. You got on the train. Now your destination, you're going somewhere. You find yourself in this life. Okay? It doesn't matter where you came from. Not many people think about where they came from. That's a good thing in the sense that you're here right now. You're in the here and now, the present moment. Focus on where you are. But that's not what people do. People get really focused on the afterlife and where they're going after this because they're scared, you guys. That's that fear running them, you know? What do you have there, Ray?
Well, it's anxiety. Anytime you worry about your future,
right,
that's anxiety.
Yeah.
And that becomes a mental illness, and that requires prescription drugs to maintain and control.
It doesn't. It's the way that people, that's the wrong answer.
Is it?
Yeah, because you don't just go out for prescription drugs to deal with your anxiety. You cut it out.
That's what most people would do, or their depression.
Well, no, that's not what most people do, right? That's what some people do.
Well, maybe they have another addiction. Maybe they use alcohol.
That would be true.
Okay.
Right.
But
yeah.
People who worry about their future, that's called anxiety. You worry about your past, that's called depression.
Okay.
Worry about the things you did, or worry about the things that are going to happen instead of being right here now, figuring out what are you doing right now. And another thing, I would like to add that when people ask,
are you reading a question?
Yeah, her next question is, why do we feel like we need to remember?
What, like we need to remember what?
The before life.
Oh, the before life.
So her first question was, how can we get more in touch with our before life? Okay.
Yeah.
And then why is it that we feel we need to remember it? Why do we always feel we need to remember it?
Before they answer this, I'm going to speak for myself. At 20 months old, when I encountered my spirit guides all around me, when they came in and saved me from my mom, from that bad situation. And when I saw them telepathically, energetically, I connected with remembering myself. The before life, I remembered myself. Okay, why did I remember myself? Okay, and then I had this realization that this life is not all there is. I instantly knew nothing could hurt me here. So remembering some of this stuff before in your before life takes the fear out of this life. For me, is what I have to say about that. So let's see what the guides have to add to that, or rebuttal, or whatever. I'm all open on this. Okay, and so we're going to let them do that, and here they go, Veronica.
Veronica, why would we want to know? It's because people hope and think that there's something better than what they are experiencing. people hope they go to heaven sometime in the future rather than looking for heaven where they are. And if people remembered everything about their before life, they would certainly not want to be here.
Okay, do you get that? Veronica, respond to us on this one, okay? We got a roll going here. What else do we have, Fred?
Nothing yet. Let's see here.
Okay. Yeah.
The whole before life thing. I mean, why is there such a tough concept for people to grasp? Most people believe you're going somewhere when you leave here, but very few people believe that you were somewhere before you got here. If you're going somewhere when you leave here...
Well, it's not... When you get here, Ray, the before life is not driven by fear.
No.
The afterlife brings up the fear.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, what's going to happen to me? Is there really something better after all this? Or is it just something I want to believe? All right, you know, it's that kind of feeling. There's all kinds of, it's worrying about the future, anticipation.
Right, but why don't
and
they...
there's no, okay.
Okay, no, you're on a roll. Okay.
And there's no, you brought up the concept of the future is based on anticipation or anxiety. And the past is based on depression.
Right.
Okay.
Things you did versus...
If you knew about your before life, you would not be depressed.
Right.
You would be depressed about being here, though.
Yeah, why am I here when I could be there?
I can only say that because, here's another example. I had this dream. It was 1985, 86, right in there. I was taking dream classes, and in the dream class, the teacher says, when you're in a lucid dream, you can ask anything and get an answer to it. You can do anything, and it will work out for you. It'll all happen, all right? So I'm in this dream, and my guides they're teaching me how to fly. In this dream, night after night after night, they're teaching me how to fly. Really precise, controlled flying. And I'm working with them, and I'm learning, and it's going really well, and I'm really in heaven with these guides and where I'm at in the stream. It's just great. These guides are the best, loving, most patient and caring, intuitive, connected, everything you can imagine. Okay. And they say, okay, it's time for you to go back now, Linda. And I said, no, I'm not going back. I'm lucid. I can do whatever I want. Well, they just looked at me. They didn't argue with me or, anything. Boom, I'm right back in this life. I had a lot of control over that, right? All right, so this thing with lucid dreaming, yeah, it's pretty true, but, in cases like that where I threw on the brakes and I said, no, I'm not going back. When you experience what the afterlife is, a lot of people call it the afterlife. It's life beyond. It's where we usually reside, by the way. We're not usually here on the planet living an earth life. This is a very, very minute part of our journey. It's not time frame based. It's a part of our journey to get some of these aspects, forget those lessons, aspects worked out. All right, shine up our act, get to know who we are, get closer to who that is, and appreciate who that is, and have gratitude for that, and all that is, okay, the bigger picture, understanding this bigger picture. But the before life, all right, there's no fear associated with that. It feels like the before life when you're on the other side, when you have that dream, when you have those instances in this lifetime. It feels like where you came from. That's the before life. It's the same place you go to when you leave here, when you're released from this world. The afterlife. So it's just before and after where we are. And we're not here very often. This is just a very tiny part of our experience here.
It's a school. We come from the before life where everything's great.
Yeah.
Right? And we come here, we incarnate here, and it's a school for us to work out, learn these lessons, and work out the stuff so our soul can evolve. And then we cross over to the afterlife, which is really where we came from. Same thing.
Okay.
And it's wonderful. And then if you didn't get the amnesia, see if I got this right now, if you didn't get you want to reincarnate again, you want to work on some other aspects of your soul. And you plan that with your guides. And if you didn't get the amnesia coming back the next time, well, you wouldn't want to come back. You'd want to stay in the before life forever.
Why would you not want to come back if you didn't, if
You have to get the amnesia.
Because?
Or else you would never want to come here. You would never.
That is true. Okay, that is true. Because if you came in with your full awareness of where you came from and what it was like, your interest in seeing this through would be diminished.
Right.
That's what Ray's saying.
Very quickly.
It would be. Okay, that makes a good point. Ray makes an excellent point there. So there's many reasons for this amnesia, okay, so that you stay put. You know, once you're in a physical body, you may drift off and think, well, I'd like to be somewhere else, you know, type of thing. But your physical body has a different urge. It sees to the fact that you don't cease to physically exist. It will hang on because it needs you. It needs to house the soul that came here to learn what it came here to perfect. That aspect or aspects that you came here, that your soul came here to work out, okay? And it doesn't want you to lose interest in being here because it's slow motion here, you guys. It's dense, it's thick. Everything seems like it moves so slowly, you know? It takes, and the fact that it takes humans so much to learn something, it's not so much that it's taken us so much to learn something as it is to unlearn what's blocking us from learning what's right there, okay? That's coming through our guides, that comes through us from our guides, that we're ready to learn right now, okay? It's getting all the blocks out of the way so we can actually take advantage of that learning, okay? I want to say this one thing here too. I want to repeat this one thing here. It's fascinating. I loved this part of the session that I'm going to read to you. Yes, you could pass or fail depending on the effort you took in planning it before you got here. The next sentence reads, it was in the planning that would determine how hard you were going to work on it once you arrived. So imagine, let's say I know in my life I put down some serious planning with my spirit guides because I've been through a lot of stuff, you know, and I've done pretty good learning all this because of that connection I have with them, right? And that connection I have with myself. That's the key. But let me get my thoughts back. Hold on. Okay. The planning that how do you know how intense your planning was before you got here? Do you know? How come I know? You need to ask yourself that question. When you ask yourself that question, here, better yet, when you ask yourself that question, it's the one, when you go back to the session, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th paragraph. It's the second and last sentence in that 5th paragraph. When you read that, I would love to see your comments on the post. If you could do that, please. Because this is going to help other people understand what this is as we flesh it out together. You guys leave your comment, I'll reply. You know how that always goes, you know. And think about that. How intense was your planning before you got here? And how do you know that? I shared with you how I know that. How I know that. I came in with that merry-go-round dream even before I encountered my spirit guides physically, when my mom almost killed me at 20 months old. The merry-go-round dream in part 1 of Guided, in chapter 1, part 1 of Guided, talks about that whole thing and how I knew something was going on, but I wasn't sure. I knew somebody was there, but I wasn't sure it was them. It was like before 20 months old. So I came in. They knew I signed up for a great big plate full of learning some aspects rather than lessons, getting some aspects worked out in me, that these people, these characters, these, pawns in the game, would help accelerate that process to get me there. Was it radical? Oh my God, it was totally radical. So how do you guys know? I want to see those posts. And if they wrote it in there as a question or as a comment, right?
We have a couple comments.
Okay, great, you guys. I love these sessions.
Okay. Oh yeah, they're coming in now. Here we go. Veronica said, yes, I get that. I appreciate a lot here and now. Okay, just a comment. Then she said, I lagged when they said, if I remembered everything about the before life, I wouldn't want to be here at all. She laughed. I think she just laughed. There's a little typo there.
Right.
She laughed when you wouldn't want to be here at all. And it's true.
I know.
You would, if you have a taste of the other side and it's wonderful, and they say, hey, how about, you feel like going back now? No. And Kathy said, we would, none of us would want to be here if we remembered that before life. True. Veronica, I just sometimes want proof that I'm living my life on Earth the right way or something. Kathy then said, I seem to have she has before life dreams a lot. She asks her guides why it felt like she was visiting a parallel life in her dreams, and they said, because you are.
Right. It's not unusual. See, to the guides, parallel lives, everything's all happening at the same time, you guys. Here in this world, you guys know this, it has to happen frame by frame. It's like, oh my God, the slow motion's just, I'm done with it. I want to speed this thing up. Well, what you're doing when you feel that way, you're really connected and you're remembering. That's what that is. How could you be bored with this life, because it's not going fast enough, unless you remembered the before life when everything happens instantly? Okay, that's cool. Okay, that is so good. All right, that's where that comes from. Yeah. So anytime you feel those instances of impatience in this life, you're remembering your before life because everything happens instantly. You guys, there is nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about in this life. There really isn't, because this is not all there is. This is one little pit stop along the way on your journey, okay? I would say the only thing that I would be concerned about in this life is when it's time to make my exit out, it's time for me to move on and get in the other car and go. John Lennon says, how does he say that, Ray?
Crossing over is like getting out of one car and getting in another one.
Yeah. When it's time to get in the other car, I just don't want it to be painful getting into the other car.
Right.
I don't want to go out in, pain or anything. I want it to just smoothly transition and I'm, I'm out of here. Right, you guys? That's it. So I think if you live a good life, you live a full life, you live a complete life where there's nothing on the table and no regrets, transitioning is going to be easy.
Yeah, if you're living that kind of life, you don't have time to worry about where you're going to go when you leave here.
Well, you don't have, you haven't been resisting your life. So why would your transition be filled with resistance?
Right.
That's what that would be. And there would be no way. You just get in the other car and off you go.
Uber to the before life.
Yeah, it's right back, a cycle back around.
Cycle back around.
Right.
So you can do it again. You can plan on doing it again and having a different experience the next time you come. Or maybe you did have to learn the same lesson over again. Who knows? It depends on how you lived it.
Your soul, only your soul knows.
Right.
You know.
So everybody's soul's different, and I'm thinking, maybe I'm wrong. Everybody has a different degree of amnesia.
That's right, Ray. And what it's based on?
What?
Your how awake you are when you come into this life. I can answer that because of guided.
Mm-hmm.
I came into this life knowing that something else was going on. I was a little baby. I didn't know. Of course, I couldn't even articulate any of that. Blah blah blah. You
had no reasoning.
But it was like I had this dream that would never stop. It was there. It was there. It was there, and it wouldn't leave me alone, you guys. So each one of us have a different, need to be awake and reason to be awake. And actually, right now in my life, as I do this teaching and I do this work, I feel like I'm only now beginning to really meet up with my highest purpose in this life. Only now is it beginning to really reveal itself. And I'm going to repeat this. And it's my soul is working out those aspects that it came here to work out. I finally have it all together. I finally have it all together. I finally have it all together, okay? I finally have this all together. And it took a whole bunch of stuff for this to finally come together, and you guys, and all of it, okay? So when it starts to happen, and what else did I say? I love this, okay? The other part was, hold on. It was all in the planning. It was all in how well it was planned before you got here. It's all in the planning. That's the part where I want to hear back from you guys on the comments. I want you to ponder that. I want you to sit with your guides. I want you to ponder that and really look into that and let it come through. We all have it, you guys. You guys are closer to it than you think with all the inner work you've done.
Get back to that. People come in with different degrees of amnesia. I think that's how you explain a little child, a little 4-year-old or 5-year-old that sits down at the piano and plays beautiful classical music, or somebody just knows how to paint like a master, because in a previous life,
right,
they developed those skills to a point that added to the world.
To themselves.
To themselves first, but it was a gift they gave to the world.
Right.
So they got to remember that gift when they came in.
And why did they get to remember it?
Because the last time when they developed it, and they struggled maybe to develop,
right.
Maybe they struggled all their life to be a great painter.
Right.
And
right.
After they died, their art took off, sold around the world.
They could have been a starving artist, but
right.
They stayed with it anyway, and stayed with it anyway, and stayed with it anyway. And then they came, because they had refined it so well and stayed with it so they were true to themselves. They come back in, it's a knee-jerk reaction, and they can't wait to pick up where they left off. Right. That's what your life is, you guys. From the before life, you're picking back up here in this life where you left off when you left, but you brought it in with you. These are your gifts and talents. The guides are always talking to you about your gifts and talents. You had everything you needed when you came here on that very first day. Everything, including your guides that followed you here to look over you and guide you throughout your lifetime. Okay? You had everything. I just can't help but bring this back up again. Part 2, taking the journey back. And reclaiming yourself. That's the key. You're going to bump into it. You're going to realize it. You're going to be granted access. But you got to find it. You got to go back and unearth it. That's the point. By the way, come tomorrow. We're going to be here live, Facebook Live at 6 p.m. tomorrow. And we're going to be working in the journal. And we've got the questions already, that people have already sent the questions in, but we want to hear your feedback. We want you guys to ask your questions. And feel free, just like tonight, to ask questions about any part of part 2 of the journey. Feel free to do that. Ray and I talked about it. We talked about it with the guides, and they said, bring in the random questions tomorrow. Bring them on, all right? And your guides are going to talk to you about it. Because that journal, taking that journey back, is so critical to clearing up what's going on, so there's no more blocks or resistance in your way. You realize where it happened, and once you see it and write it in the journal, it's history. It doesn't control you anymore.
That's the only way you can study anything.
It really is.
You have to write it down.
Absolutely, Ray. Yeah.
Speaking of the Wednesday night sessions, last week's Wednesday night session.
Well, I think you guys may have watched it on the replay.
Right. We had, on that session, it was a record-setting session. Hundreds of people saw the replay or attended live.
How many people were there, Ray?
Almost 300 now.
Almost 300 views on last Wednesdays. You guys, join us. Be part of this whole thing, all right? And bring those questions. You don't have to, go into one chapter and just, I work with you just one-on-one. We're going to randomly work on that, all right? So bring them on, all right?
Yeah, some new people joined us. Deanna Marie, hi Deanna.
Hi Deanna.
And Kim Hurd and Barbara Morris.
Barbara,
welcome.
Very nice to have you all. Okay, and whatever you do, be sure to look in the description for those who are new, and you'll see where it says Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, where you can sign up for free, so you know each week what we're going to be talking about, because we get in there and we really talk about it, all right? We answer your questions, and your guides come through and speak directly to you about what your question is to help you understand it, whatever the theme is for that week, all right?
It's not about writing books, it's about a connection.
Right.
Connection to your guides. And, other authors just write a book and here, buy my book, and that's it. You have the website, which is very active.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Linda now has the #1 website in the world for any spiritual author based on engagement rankings.
It's amazing.
It is. The average person comes to a spiritual author's website and stays 3 minutes and reads 2.5 pages. When they come to lindadeir.com, they stay 41 minutes and read 14 pages.
And part of it is because of these live events we do that follow up with the insight. This insight came out at midnight last night, and then you get to talk to your guides about what this insight holds for you in your life. All right?
Live support. The live support means a whole lot.
Yeah, so it's not just the insight, it's the support behind it. And your guides actually speak with you, okay? So do we have any more questions before
one more statistic. There's 350 support videos on your site, lindadeir.com.
Wow. Right.
350.
350 now. Wow.
Okay, no more comments.
Okay, right.
But, what's going to happen next week?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about that. So before the spirit guides bring through their closing message for tonight's insight, we want to let you know about a few things. Tomorrow, Wednesday, May 15th, at 6 p.m. Pacific time, make the connection to your spirit guides and angels. Join me on Facebook Live, Linda Deir, author, to learn about how this guided journal writing system works. We're going to be working in My Guided Journey. This is book 2 of the 3-part system. My spirit guides and I will be answering the email questions I asked for last week. Thanks for emailing those to me. We'll be covering those, but we also want you to come in and, just like tonight, randomly ask your questions about any part of part 2.
And make comments.
Let's do that. And then your guides are going to answer you, and we're going to have a fast and furious session, all right? Each week, we take you deeper into My Guided Journey, connecting you to your spirit family so you no longer miss the guidance that they are always sending you, okay? All right, so next Tuesday, right here on Facebook Live, May 21st. Join me right here on my Facebook page, Linda Deir Author. This will be a Q&A and commentary just like tonight with me and my spirit guides at 6 p.m. Pacific time, so don't miss it. In Linda's weekly guided insights, the spirit guides will be talking about loneliness and isolation. There are no more clans. Communities no longer come together as a group who support and take care of each other. Societies have forced people into isolation. Modern technology reinforces the isolation. This technology model is designed to make you feel connected while at the same time isolated and alone. Isolation and the lack of personal interaction have trained you to judge others. This control over how to act and think only works on people who are disconnected from everything. Okay, so while people think that they're connected, there they are on the internet, there they are on social media, there they are in their email. They think they're connected. Everyone feels like that's the connection. But honestly, when you see the people walking around with their phones and this is what they're doing, and they're walking across the street and they're not even looking at what's going on around them, and they get hit by cars, and I mean, crazy stuff happens. They're pretty far from being connected. Okay, you're actually, when you're doing this or you're on your computer, you're somewhere else. You're not present. You're off somewhere else. You're on social media. You're somewhere else. You're at grandma's house at Thanksgiving. There's a funny cartoon. There's all the kids sitting on the couch.
And the adults.
And the adults.
All doing this, and grandma's just sitting there like this.
They can't see you. They're on the couch, and they're all doing this, is what Ray was showing. And grandma's just sitting there looking at all of them. Going, I wonder why I invited you guys over.
Right, I went to all that trouble for that meal.
I know. So anyway, this connection turns out to be a disconnection if we don't manage it right, if we don't control it. Okay, so it's good, but it's not good when it's way out of balance. Okay, so that's what next week is going to be about.
I know, I'm the same way. I only feel connected to one person with technology.
You.
No, Jeff Bezos, Amazon.
I
have a direct connection right there, and the next day it shows up at the door.
That's because Ray is on the internet a lot. He does most of the shopping right there online, right? Okay, all right. I've got my own opinion about all that. I think, I think we might be being set up, you guys.
Who knows?
But I'll keep that to myself. Okay, maybe I'll talk about that some other time. Okay, so we're going to go ahead with the closing message for tonight. We love having you guys. We love the questions you have. Awesome questions, okay? And don't forget to leave those comments I asked you for on tonight's insight on the blog post, okay? Because that's worth, I want to see what you guys have to say, and I'm going to answer you on all of them, all right? Okay, so the spirit guides and angels are going to close the session tonight about how the before life impacts this one, and here they go.
Once you stop worrying about the afterlife and realize you had a before life, what you remember is that this life is not all there is. You've been here before. You take this temporary journey many times, and it is just like getting out of one car and into another when you leave. But while you are here and you know that you had a before life, you realize all you are doing is holding each other's hand and walking home.
Boy, you guys, You know, that's the part where Ray says, be kind to each other. Even the people who are rough and tough and they don't get it, you know, just let them go. Don't fight with them. Just let that go and move into and around people who support you, okay, who love you for who you are. That's a big one, you guys. If you're not around people who love you for who you are, you have to move on from that. You can't be around it. It will not, it's not why your soul came here. And it's not, the aspects of you that you're trying to work out, it's like a barricade. It won't let you through, okay? It won't grant you access. You've got to move that out of the way of that. You've got to leave those people alone. Just leave them alone and move on. It's very gentle. Okay.
It is.
You guys, we'll see you tomorrow.
Hopefully tomorrow.
We'll see you guys next week right here on my Facebook page. Same place, same time.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.